this is one of these issues which, again, we have to reverse the executive order. It's obviously being driven by some ideological perspective that we shouldn't be doing anything about climate change. But in the case of the farms that are taking advantage of REAP, I will tell you, this is as much a business decision and a cost issue for them as it is to reduce carbon emissions. Hi, this is Congressman Joe Courtney. Just wanted to talk for a moment about an issue which, again, is causing a lot of concern in the 2nd Congressional District, Eastern Connecticut. It's a district, if anyone's ever looked at the map, that is a huge expanse of the state of Connecticut, by far the biggest congressional district geographically. And it's, as you would expect, it's more rural and has a lot more farms than other parts of the state. It's a great part of the character of Eastern Connecticut, and over the years have really learned a lot, visiting some of the hardworking family farms, individual farmers that are really doing great work in terms of providing food that is healthy and local, and really does so much to retain the rural open space areas of our state. One of the biggest issues for Eastern Connecticut farmers and in the Northeast is energy costs. And a great program that was developed a number of years ago, the Rural Energy Assistance Program, REAP, was developed to give farms through the process of grants and sometimes small loans the money to install solar panels and other forms of renewable energy to basically reduce their overhead and take advantage, again, about the fact that we've got much stronger and more efficient technology to collect renewable energy. When we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, there was a huge infusion of money into REAP and some of the other programs that help particularly small farms, EQIP, which is, again, a program that gives grants to upgrade the installations and equipment at farms to, again, help them with better fencing, better waste removal, you name it. And again, the Inflation Reduction Act recognized that there was climate change benefit from increasing investment in those programs, because year in and year out, they had always been oversubscribed. There were more farms looking for help than the resources that were available. One of the unfortunate executive orders, which was issued on day one in the Trump administration, suspended the Inflation Reduction Act across the board. And for a lot of farms who, again, had either active applications or had been approved for help under these various programs, were suddenly faced with the reality that their applications were frozen and that the funds that they thought they had were also frozen. Again, the way the program works is the farm actually puts out the money, extends the money to purchase the equipment, and then gets reimbursed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So it's kind of a double whammy. They're not just sort of losing the opportunity of a new grant. They actually, in many instances, have relied on the fact that they were getting the grant to expend money. So they're kind of in a hole when a program like that is frozen. There has been a huge blowback all across the country. Again, obviously, there are rural areas of the U.S. where people, again, have also been trying to take advantage of the opportunity of reducing their overhead costs. And there's been lawsuits filed to unlock this money, which had been lawfully appropriated and funded through the Agriculture Committee and through the Energy and Commerce Committee and through the Appropriations Committee. The U.S. Department of Agriculture did slightly respond to that hue and cry and announced that they were releasing $20 million out of a much larger appropriation that had been provided for by Congress when the Inflation Reduction Act was passed. So we are picking up some reports around the district where some people who thought they had been frozen are now slowly getting some of that funding restored, but that is not the case with REAP. That was not included in the U.S. Department of Agriculture's $20 million announcement a couple of days ago. So that program is still locked up. It's still frozen. And as I said, this has a particular impact in New England because of the fact that we have a need for heating and electricity because of the colder weather and colder climate, and because we have high energy costs, which is an issue which obviously is a big one in Hartford and at the state capitol this year. We are working with Farm Bureau support and advocacy. We're working with the UConn School of Agriculture Extension Service, which helps implement and get the word out for farms about the availability of these programs. I mean, this is really breaking a process that has been around for a long time, and trust that people had that if they followed the rules, submitted an application, did all the paperwork the right way that they're supposed to, that they would actually qualify and get the assistance that the government promised. This is one of these issues which, again, we have to reverse the executive order. It's obviously being driven by some ideological perspective that we shouldn't be doing anything about climate change. But in the case of the farms that are taking advantage of REAP, I will tell you, this is as much a business decision and a cost issue for them as it is to reduce carbon emissions. And for the future sustainability of agriculture in places like Connecticut, again, this order cannot stand, whether it's going to be through the budget process or whether through other court decisions. We have got to reverse this decision. If people have questions about the state of play regarding USDA programs, you can certainly call my office. We've got some great staff here that are very knowledgeable and can help guide people in terms of good information or good sources of help that are out there. Thank you for listening. And again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact the office.